What lies in the twisted roots of Greek mythology? Sons killing their fathers. That's right, and that's exactly what we'll uncover in today's video. Now, let's get right to it. So, in the beginning, there was only chaos. Erebus, the enigmatic location where death resides, and night then materialized from the emptiness. Other than that, everything else was black, silent, and void. When love eventually arrived, the primary order began. Day and night arose from love. The presence of these two led to the first appearance of Earth in Gaia, who is deemed the goddess of Earth. After then, Erebus slept off beside Night, who later gave birth to Day and Ether, the celestial and terrestrial lights respectively. Then, only the night gave rise to doom, fate, death, sleep, dreams, nemesis, and other things that emerged from the night to man. It was then that Uranus, the sky, was given birth to, alone by Gaia, who then also became his wife. 3 Cyclops, 3 Hecatoncheires, and 12 Titans were all born to their union. But the sensual and wild Uranus despised his children so much that he forced each of them back into their mother's womb at the time of birth. And after becoming overwhelmed by sadness and suffering, Gaia eventually created an adamantine sickle and begged her children to assist her in removing Uranus from power. But he was the mightiest. Who would dare to say yes? Well, the only one who wasn't afraid to consent to her plan was Cronos, the one who hated his father. Cronos took Gaia's instruction and hid in a separate area of her womb while waiting for an opportunity to assault Uranus. The opportunity presented itself when Uranus attempted to sleep with Gaia once more that same night. With a stretched-out hand, Cronos severed his father's genitalia. As he departed, he promised that Cronos and the Titans would be punished, and also predicting that just as he had been overthrown by his son, Cronos himself would be overthrown by his child. Then was the time that all his siblings were set free, and Cronos ascended to the position of the new god-king. Gaia gave birth to many more offspring as a result of the blood that spurted from Uranus's wound, including the 3 Fates, many giants, and even more Meliads, who were also known as the nymphs of the ash trees. Aphrodite, the goddess of sexual love and beauty, also appeared from the sea foam where his genitals had fallen. Cronus had established a powerful reign. The world prospered as a consequence of his efforts to overthrow Uranus. Gaia, his mother, was liberated from her burdens and was able to continue fertilizing the earth. She assisted with agricultural growth, which resulted in an era of happiness for both people and gods. During the golden age of humanity, Cronos served as the Titans' commander. There was no need for law since there was no immorality. It was a period marked by morality and wealth. The world prospered as a result of Gaia and the Titans' joy. Many people think that Cronos' association with farming and the harvest is a result of his leadership during this period. But after a brief period of peace and happiness, Cronos began to dominate the globe in the same harsh and dictatorial ways that his father had done before him. Gaia warned Cronos that one of his descendants would eventually overthrow him just as he had done with his father, so he imprisoned his brothers, the Cyclops and the Hecatoncheires, in Tartarus and swallowed all but the youngest of his 6 children because he was alarmed by the prophecy. But as Rhea was ready to deliver Zeus, her 6th child, she turned to Gaia for help in coming up with a scheme to rescue him. Zeus was secretly born in Crete by Rhea, who also concealed him there. Cronos was instead given a stone wrapped in his garments, which he swallowed. The nymph Amalthea, who is also a female goat, cared for and nursed Zeus in the cave. The Curetes, adolescent soldiers who would clash their swords each time Zeus wailed to hide his screams, likewise guarded the baby Zeus, who needed to be ready to shape the future of the Olympians. He first encountered Metis, the goddess of knowledge, while growing up in the cave, who persuaded him to get revenge on his father and also provided him with a potion to do it. Then he returned to Mount Olympus as Cronos' cupbearer, after Rhea persuaded Cronos to accept his son. That's when Zeus then had the chance to sneak Cronos the freshly prepared wine, but the poison did not kill Cronos. However, it wasn't all in vain, as he threw up so much that Zeus's brothers, Hades and Poseidon, as well as his sisters, Hestia, Demeter, and Hera, were thrown up. The 6 siblings afterwards withdrew to Mount Olympus, where Zeus convened a meeting of the gods and declared that those who supported him would keep all their rights and privileges, while those who disagreed with him would lose everything. The female siblings, Demeter, Hestia, and Hera, were sent to safety because war was unavoidable. It was thought that Hera moved in with Oceanus and Tethys, because Oceanus would later help her when she married Zeus by exposing her husband's extramarital affairs. Given that Oceanus and Tethys were first-generation Titans, it may seem odd that Hera visited them, but not all Titans supported Cronos and his cause. Oceanus made the decision to refrain from engaging in combat, and the female Titans, the Titanides, did the same. Battle lines were established between the Titans on Mount Othrys and Zeus and his allies on Mount Olympus. Zeus defeated Aegeon and the Gorgon X during the Titanomachy, but eventually both sides proved to be equally matched. As the battle raged, the ground shook, the air, that is chaos, burnt. The seas boiled, and the heavens groaningly shook. Then Gaia interfered, telling Zeus that if he freed the Hecatoncheires and Cyclops from their captivity, victory would be certain. Zeus entered Tartarus, where he engaged in combat with the powerful Campa, killing the dragon guard and releasing the inmates, and this didn't happen until the 10th year of the war. It turned out to be a brilliant move, since Zeus and his brothers were given weapons by the talented craftspeople Cyclops when they were freed. Poseidon received a powerful trident, Zeus received his lightning bolts, and Hades received the helmet of invisibility. The 100-handed Hecatoncheires were even more helpful to Zeus's cause since, after refueling on ambrosia and nectar, they had great power and could launch mountains like artillery rounds. The Titans were supposed to have increased their numbers, but Zeus was now unstoppable. He rode in on his chariot while being led by Nike, which symbolized victory. And from here he unleashed his lightning bolts. One of them struck Menoetius, plunging him into Tartarus. The battle did end, and as Zeus had promised, those who had opposed him were punished. The Hecatoncheires were assigned the duty of prison guards, and the male Titans were taken to Tartarus, to be imprisoned by new bronze gates made by Poseidon and the Cyclops. However, Atlas received a special penance, since he was now responsible for holding up the injured sky, that is Uranus, forever. Also, the Cyclops then worked as artisans for the gods, using forges on Mount Olympus and in the craters of several volcanoes. Oceanus kept his privileged state as the god of fresh water. The female Titans were left unharmed because they had not participated in the fight, and Prometheus and Epimetheus were given the responsibility of bringing life to the earth. Now, for those who supported Zeus, they received rewards. Styx was transformed into a powerful river goddess whose name was invoked for unbreakable vows, and whose offspring were granted special seats on Mount Olympus. Metis became the first wife of Zeus. The 3 male Olympians were each given a portion of the universe by a random lottery. Thus, Hades was granted control over the underworld, Poseidon was made the ruler of the world's oceans, and Zeus was elevated to the status of supreme deity by becoming the ruler of the skies. Although her children, the Hecatoncheires and Cyclops, had been freed, Gaia was dissatisfied with the Titanomachy's conclusion because they had been replaced in Tartarus with other of Gaia's children. In the end, Gaia would persuade the Giants, another group of children's Earth, to rebel against Zeus in the Gigantomachy. The Giants made a last challenge to Zeus's reign a long time later. They even went so far as to try to conquer Mount Olympus by stacking mountains on top of one another. However, the gods had become powerful, and, with Heracles' assistance, the giants were defeated or put to death. And this was the twisted story of power in Greek mythology. If you enjoyed watching it, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on our future uploads. We'll see you next time with another one. Until then, just try not to fight with your father.